Thank you, Chairman Banks, and to our ranking member, Mr. Kim. I know a lot has been discussed today. I just want to focus on the important role that our military academies play in developing leaders who share the Department of Defense's vision for a diverse and inclusive force. In July of 2022, the GAO recommended that each service secretary ensure that their respective service academy develop and implement diversity and inclusion performance measures to assess the effectiveness of their program and develop a standardized process to document discrimination and harassment allegations that are not entered into the formal complaint processing system. Can each of you expand on how your service has implemented this recommendation to date?
Congressman, with respect to the Department of the Navy, the Naval Academy is putting performance measures in place. So we are in the process of establishing performance measures, even though there still is some work to be done. We have issued policy and with respect to documenting complaints. And so we are in the process of documenting those.
When is it scheduled to be done?
I will need to take that back and check to see when the performance measures will be.
Who's done with their process?
Congressman, my understanding, according to the team at the U.S. Air Force Academy, will complete that by April 7th of this year.
Okay. Can you please report back with the structure of those evaluation measurements, please? And if I could get the answer for the others, service on the record. Service members and their families also, indicate that the Blue Star families, from 2021, a study found that active duty family respondents of color made decisions about military life based on perceptions of racism and fear for their family's safety and communities. The study found that nearly half of active duty, that's 46% of family respondents of color, report that they have considered racial, ethnic discrimination in their installation ranking decisions, and 42% consider concerns about safety due to their or their family's racial ethnic identity. So can you please talk about how service members and their families deserve to feel safe in their communities? What are the services doing to address these concerns, and what can Congress do to help?
Congressman, I'll take this one on behalf of the Department of the Air Force. I'm very concerned. It's not only the Blue Star Family Study. In 2021, the Association of Defense Communities also surveyed a statistically significant sample of service members and their families, and they found that 50% of African Americans didn't feel safe in their communities. I just got back from F.E. Warren Air Force Base, 1/3 of our nuclear ground-based triad, where we've had to move foremen and their families out of that installation because of incidents of racism in the community. What I can tell you is our wing commanders and our numbered Air Force leadership is committed to working with local government officials and in some cases mayors and governors to have a long-lasting, enduring solution. And what we're doing in the Department of the Air Force is taking a look at how we could partner with Blue Star families and with the Association of Defense Communities to come up with some kind of matrix to give families more information about where they might want to be stationed, because they don't always get to pick, but also to incentivize good behavior in these communities.
Yeah, I think it's imperative, as has been stated by several of the members on the committee, and we also need to ensure that the values of the U.S. military are upheld in our recruitment practices, and that we continue to weed out those with ties to extremist groups or movements. I saw in an earlier study from the University of Maryland that found more than 1,000 people who had been charged for actions taken in connection with the attack on the Capitol. At least 17% of those charged appeared to have connections to the military as either active duty members or veterans. That is why diversity, equity, and inclusion is important in the military, in the private sector, in nonprofits, and yes, in government. And I wish that my colleagues on the other side would spend more time figuring out how we can support our military families with housing, with
Gentleman's
childcare,
time has
with
expired.
food, and not dividing us as a nation, as a country on wedge issues
Gentleman's time has
because of
expired.
race. It's unacceptable. It's un-American.
The gentleman's time has expired.